Hello guys, welcome back to Field Skills. My name is David Fields, and today we're going to talk about personal protection as part of our core need number one in an urban survival situation. And this is part two of these videos in talking about home defense, personal protection. And in video one we talked about the weapons I recommend, the type weapons I recommend every home, every family have to protect themselves on a day-to-day basis. But this video we're going to talk about when an urban event, a disaster event, a survival event happens, what weapons we need to add to those home defense, those personal protection weapons that we have every day. And I want to do that by beginning by us talking about phases of a survival situation. And I think there's, in reading and looking and reading blogs, a lot of the survival guys out there that talk about it say there are three phases, and I tend to agree with that. And phase one of a survival situation is that martial law phase. It's when an event first happens and the authorities are trying to maintain law and order. And that's the phase when an event happens, whether it's natural or man-made, but an event where we're trying to get home, in the get home situation with our get home bag or something. And during that martial law phase, when chaos is going on out there, we just want to get home, stay home, and be protected. And those weapons that we have on a day-to-day basis are the weapons we need for that phase one of being home, sitting there, monitoring what's going on till we realize everything's back to normal, everything's okay, or it's progressed to a different phase of survival. And so during that martial law phase and our day-to-day operations, what do we need? Well, we talked about in the last video. First of all, you need a Primus, which is a full-size handgun, your primary weapon. No matter what the phase is, this is the weapon you're going to have with you and on you at all times. In my bug out bag, in that video, I talked about reminding myself, having my holster on the outside of the bag to remind myself to get my Primus, my full-size handgun, to go along. And then I also recommended that each person should have a compact, a small-size handgun, concealed carry weapon with them at all times, which I do, and having something like this 380 Taurus semi there. Then we talked about shotguns and the idea of having just a good 12-gauge pump shotgun, a double-duty weapon out there for hunting and home personal defense. And then having a rifle, or two rifles really, I suggested. Having a big game rifle like the 30-30 here, or having a small game rifle, or both. A small game being a 22 with a scope for smaller game out there. But those weapons are day-to-day and in the early stages of a survival situation, phase one that we call martial law, when the authorities are still maintaining order, but there's chaos going on out there. That's when you get home, you hunker down, and you stay there till everything's okay. But what happens if it moves farther than that? It goes longer than that, like Katrina did. In Katrina, the early days, it was chaos and there was law enforcement, but as time went on, looters started happening, and it became into phase two, which you can call the lawless phase, without rule of law, WROL time, when they've made it through that initial chaos, but things are still bad. And, the ones who survived and are out there, they have are not happy campers right now. They're hungry, they're angry, they're aggressive maybe in what's going on, and gangs start forming to go out and to secure the resources they need to protect themselves and to provide for their group. And so that's when the lawless period comes on, and that's when moving towards a more tactical scenario and having weapons for a more tactical situation happen, because the authorities then may not be able to contain and control things as well as they were early on. And it's not to say they won't get them back under control, but things will start happening out there. And Katrina was that. Early days it went on, but then gangs and looting started going on. Ferguson, Missouri had a lot of that. And so at that point is when you need to get your prepper community together and start coming together to have more battle type weapons and to have support around you to grow your army in a way, and preparing with a group of people and knowing who you're going to call on, who you're going to get with when things get worse is very important in that. And so there may be some weapons that you want to add to your base armory at house for the day-to-day living that we talked about. And one of those, of course, remembering our Primus. We're always going to have that no matter what the situation in there, and your subcompact. But you may want to add a tactical style shotgun like this Winchester here, Home Defender model. Carries 8 shells in it, but is a little more concealed carry, and it is designed for a more tactical situation with the pistol grip and all on it. But adding that would be a great option to your arsenal or weaponry. Rifles. Adding a good battle type, assault type rifle like my AR-15 here. Very important key weapon through here to, if you had to get in and start really protecting against groups and marauders, things like that. Having a good tactical rifle will be key there, and I highly recommend getting some type of assault type rifle, whether it's an AK, an AR, and all through that. And then another thing, and I like, and one of the first tactical style, assault style rifles that I built was took my Ruger 1022 and created an assault type rifle with it. And one of the things I like about it, you can get banana clips that'll hold up to 50 rounds in there. This can be a very deadly weapon in a survival situation or any situation you had to protect yourself, to be able to throw a lot of ordnance down range with that. Easy to reload, but just a good rifle, and then can be used double duty as a long gun for small game hunting and things like that. But something you may want to add. And the whole idea of preparing for a survival situation is getting through those phases, because you know, early on is your normal situation, so you don't have those base weapons I recommended in the first video. But then when things get worse and it's more dangerous and people are going around, and the likelihood of protecting your home, protecting where you are grows, having more people and more weapons and ammo is very key in getting to more assault battle type weapons. But then if we move to phase 3, let's say it does go on and we're in a grid down situation for long term, and you fought the battles and there's pretty well steady, but peace, you're not being attacked, and it's now time to start a sustained living, long-term survival situation. And what weapons do you need to add to that? Well, you've already got the armory to do that. Your double duty phase 1 and pre-survival situation weapons, your double duty shotgun, your double duty rifles are key there. One of the things I add or have that I would add in there is just a small .22 revolver. I carry this anytime in more spring, summer, early fall months with me when I go into the woods on things. Just to have a weapon for smaller game, snakes, things like that in there. But having a weapon, you could go with more of a full-size .22 here is the GSG 1911. It's a .22 on a 1911 frame. Could be another option that you have added to your collection, your stores of weapons through there. But when you get into that sustained living, you're going to, provided the ammo holds out, you're going to go back to your pre-survival weaponry, your double-duty rifles and guns. But at that point, you may want to add, for long-term stability and ammo gets low, start adding a archery, a compound bow, maybe adding a crossbow into your arsenal. And somebody's practicing back that way right now. But adding those to your weapons to protect yourself, to protect that core need number 1 of your health and safety, no matter what the situation is. I hope this, though, has been interesting. I hope you'll think about what weapons do I have available, have I got, and what weapons would I like to add to my arsenal to prepare for that eventuality of an urban survival situation one day. I end all of my videos with a quote, and the quote for this urban survival series is from Benjamin Franklin, where Franklin said, "By failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail." So I hope you'll join me next time as we continue preparing to be successful in an urban survival situation. My name is David Fields. You've been watching Field Skills. I hope you'll subscribe to this channel, like, comment about the videos, and suggestions. Help me. If you've got some good ideas, I'd love to hear them, to learn more and to improve my preparation for that urban survival situation. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time here on Field Skills.